What's up, everybody? Ship Squad. This is your girl Z, and welcome to Ships, y'all. This is a relationship show where we chronicle the difficult and hidden world of true to life relationships. What's up, squad?
What's up?
Hey,
How you doing? I good. How you doing? How was your week, girl?
it was good. It was challenging, but
Yeah,
really
you got through it.
challenging. Some gut wrenching, heart wrenching things, but
Okay,
onward and upward.
okay. All right, Dr. Hosea.
Man, it was a very exciting weekend to say the least, but it was good. No complaint.
All right, Pastor Rick Arcee. How's your
Beautiful
week?
week, recovering from this whole Rona stuff. You know how it hit everybody. So recovering, thank God.
All right, all
Amen.
right, all right. Well,
Yes.
y'all, we got some exciting news. I got my little. I don't have tea today, but actually, I do have tea, but it's not like the hot tea. But anyway, we're gonna get into some juicy conversations today. Before we get into the message in about, take my little sip. I don't know how to say it. So, it's this bishop, right, y'all, that's been single for a long time. And he had this person he's been seeing for a long time. And so he decided to go ahead and get engaged. So, and it's just a hot topic in LA. A lot of people have been talking about it. It's buzz on the streets. I'm like, congratulations. And yeah. So, Janine, you have any comments? Bishop Noel Jones.
Oh wow, yeah. First of all, I thought someone was joking when I got the text that he was engaged. I thought I'm like, this can't be true, and I'm like, why? Now, after all this time, I think Miss Loretta, I remember seeing her in the reality show they did about the pastors, and I'm like,
Right.
I just wonder, and it's none of my business, but what changed after all these years of that's his woman? Like, why now put a ring on it? I congratulations, but it just seems like 2022. That's okay. That'll be the year. I don't.
Yeah. Pastor Arce.
I think my brother's about to retire, and he wants to go into the sunset. With his beautiful fiance, soon to be wife, and it's going to be what's going to be in his life. Uh, she's obviously a very faithful, here, very kind
You
woman.
got that right. You can
Yes.
say faithful again. Put 2,
But-
3, 4, 5 exclamation points at the end of that.
Yeah, she,
In the holy name of Jesus.
whatever she got coming, she deserved it, and I'm happy for him. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm happy for Bishop Noel Jones. Very happy for him.
So, but what does this mean to the congregation? Is there going to be like a whole lot of people leaving because he's like officially off the market? You know how the saints are sometimey about that.
Well, let me start by saying I don't think it's any secret. I am a son of the house of the City of Refuge, where Bishop Noel Jones is our pastor and leader. And I was actually there during the time of this proposal, and I was caught off guard. I was going over there. They were celebrating his 72nd birthday, and I went to offer my birthday wishes. As soon as our service was over, I rushed over there as fast as I could to show my support for my pastor in his 72nd birthday. And as he was giving remarks, he continued, and I was floored, like, wow. But here is what I will say. And well, let me start here. Sister Zandra, I don't need all them exclamation marks. For one, first of all, but no, seriously speaking, honestly, I'm happy for Bishop. I'm happy
Yeah.
that he's gathered even the courage.
Yeah.
Sometimes when some people go through divorces, and it's hard to take that leap of faith again.
Right.
And he's been divorced for well over 20 years plus.
Right.
And for him to come to the point in life to say, I'm ready to officially settle down. It was funny before he made the official proposal, he said, and I thought to myself, should I give up the freedom jacket for a straight jacket? And after so many should I's, he says, but I decided to stop saying should I and say, will you marry me? And he was kind of romantic in it. And, you know, I'm really happy for Loretta. Really, truly. That's just being honestly, she was so, I don't think I've ever seen her happier. I don't think I've ever seen her happier. I went over to the house later for what was to be the birthday party that was also now an engagement party. And she was just on cloud nine. And,
Well, wouldn't you after 40 years of waiting?
Let me say this in the defense of my pastor. You say that. He told us, even on the show y'all referring to, he was very blatant about the fact that they were just friends. Now, I don't know how long, you know, it evolved.
You know what? Come on, stop.
Into friendship. But now they are soon to be husband and wife. And Pastor Rick, I think you hit a nail on the head. Bishop's, you know, talking about retiring. It's time to just settle down. And he's been working hard for a very long time.
Very long time.
He's been preaching the gospel since he was 19 years old.
Yeah.
And you do the math. I don't know how long is that from 72 to
53 years.
53 years.
Oh my God.
What that got to do with getting married?
You know, can I ask the question? I want to pose a question.
I'm trying to find the connection.
I just have a question now. Okay, here's my question. Why is it that if he was not getting married, there would be no problem?
No, you missing the whole. Go ahead.
We didn't think that there was no problem.
Yeah, that's the part
with how it was
going.
Wait.
No.
Completely missing it. Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, help me understand this. You said that she had to wait 40 years for him to do A, B, and C. Pastor Hosea just told you the man said that they were just friends. Now, listen.
I've had friends. Anybody else on here had friends?
Okay,
like that.
Okay.
Anybody else?
We all gonna put up here and just okay.
I'll answer Janine's question. Janine, you asked the question that I didn't quite answer. You asked the question about the church now moving forward, and you know, of course, none of us have a crystal ball that we're looking into. But I can say from my personal experience of not nearly being single as long as Bishop, after God called my wife home, in just that 2-year span, we were packed out. And I didn't propose at church. I announced that I had proposed that weekend.
Yeah.
That previous weekend. I announced that I had proposed and that she said yes, and I'm going to be getting married. And I made that announcement at church publicly, letting all of the congregation know.
Yeah. And what happened, Pastor Hosea?
Our weekly attendance dropped about 50%. This is true. I'm just hearing my story. We went from packed out,
yes, sir,
to about halfway full. And what I'm proud of And here is what I said. Thank you, Father. Now I can begin to build on a solid foundation.
Oh, good.
Because sometimes certain things weed out who's here for Christ.
Yes, sir.
And who's here with ulterior motives and personal agendas that ain't used to build the kingdom. Mm-hmm. So it was the best thing that happened for Calvary, and I'm forever grateful. And the church said,
Amen. You know, what else is interesting about this story? It's story like it's fiction. The story is, I wonder what God said to her in terms of the waiting, because there's always people on the outside looking in at your situation. They're like, did God really tell you to wait that long? Was that really God? You know, after a year, 2 years, whether it was God or not, you still gonna wait? Yeah. You know, and we all, well, I won't say we all, I know many of us women, Sandra, and we've talked about this, we know of women who have been waiting on someone for 20 years, not even exaggerating.
Yeah.
God said he's the one.
Yeah.
20 years.
Yep.
Eggs dried up, powder gone. Just for real.
That's true.
Right?
Wow.
Waiting. So that is that takes a lot of character and heart to wait.
Right. And let me make this perfectly clear, because I don't want my comments to get lost in translation. As far as him or any other pastor, because I know of a pastor as well that got married. It's not always that the women want the pastor. That's what a lot of men think. It is not like everybody wants you. That's the honest to God's truth. Sometimes it's how you pick, who the person is, and how you view, especially in the Midwest, how they view first ladies, or how they view the how this person is going to come into the congregation. So, for instance, here in the Midwest, the first lady is really just really a big time extension of her husband. So they're doing a lot of the counseling. They're doing a lot of the women's ministries and a lot of the deliverance ministries and stuff. That's just how they come as a package. So if someone is coming that does not have great character, that's where a lot of times you find a lot of division. Now, I know that for fact for being here in the Midwest. So in saying that with Bishop Noel Jones, I don't know the man. I really don't. And I don't know Loretta. I just know that they, the story that they've been dating, and you said they were friends for a very long time. But I don't know her character. I don't know anything about it. But I wanted to clarify and make that clear. Everybody don't want the pastor. Some people really genuinely care about the ministry, Pastor Holger. I just wanted to make that clear. And they may not agree, with how this person may take on certain ministries, and then they're set. My thing is just don't go to the ministry. That's my thing. I wouldn't leave the church.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but here is where I have a problem with it. It sounds like a person then, from what we're talking about, has made an assumption without any evidence. See, I would think what would give that person more credibility to me, if they love the ministry, love the pastor, love this, stay long enough to see. You haven't given, what I'm saying? If you love the pastor that way and the ministry, then at some point you have to give his judgment the benefit of the doubt with things that you don't have as much insight on as he does. So in that case, you should hang around a month and continue to do ministry. And if what you fear, you see it transpire, then you can make an educated, informed decision to choose to be elsewhere. But to assume, it's probably going to be like this, and it's probably
for here, they knew beforehand, because this was a person that was in the church. So they saw the character of the person before the person I'm talking about before he married her. So they saw it. I'm just going by what I'm only going by the one scenario that I know.
You're saying, but the point I'm saying,
if you see the character, they don't need to wait. Listen, I wouldn't wait, but I stayed before I came to California. I wouldn't wait for what? You see the character.
You're saying the individual person based on what you saw. I'm saying to your point about they're gonna, because you know how it is. The first lady, she's gonna run these ministries. She's probably gonna be in charge of this, charge of that. That becomes an assumption until it happens. Like for what? What if that particular pastor? That we just, of course, we all have been hypothetical. But what if that particular pastor saw some things in this woman that God alluded to him, and he chose to take her in under his wing and da 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 da. And he's like, and he was like, no, I'm not going to allow her to do this, this, and this, and that, and that yet, and da 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 da.
Okay.
And if the person now is getting her because she's under new management.
That's different. And that's what you're talking about is different.
I'm not agreeing with the preconceived notion when you have every opportunity for evidence. And
no, what you just said makes sense. It's because what you're saying is that maybe he didn't. But if you have someone where you're seeing the character of a person, Pastor Hosea, you're seeing their character. So some stuff you don't need any other evidence. If you're a liar, if you're a cheat, if that's your character, people can see that.
Let me ask
you. That's all I'm saying.
Let me ask
I'm talking about what happened in Michigan.
One more question.
Then we can move on.
You'd have seen me 20 years ago. I was a liar. I was a cheat. I was a drug dealer. All of these were facts about my character. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
None of us are in the church. No, I'm just kidding.
None of us are in the church because none of us are who we were.
No, I hear you. I'm just going by the situation that happened in Michigan before I came to LA. That one I know for a fact. So, okay. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else want to chime in before we move forward?
I think it's time to move on to
all right.
What's in the bottle?
Nothing's in the bottle. All right.
One word.
Oh.
Friends. That's all I gotta say. Hold on.
We're friends. Yeah.
Boom.
Message in a bottle, baby. Yeah.
I like that.
That's good. Nice. That was good. Dr. Hosea. Okay, guys. Woo, here we go. Dear Ship Squad, I never put my business out there like this, but desperate times call for desperate measures. And this is too sensitive to share with friends or family. I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary, and I can count on one hand how many times my husband and I have been intimate. Our wedding night was disappointing because I was on my cycle. Nevertheless, I thought a few days later we would make up for lost time, but it was more like one and done. Neither one of us was a virgin before we got married, but we decided to not mess around until we said, I do. And now we don't. I never thought I would be the one wanting and begging for more intimacy. I don't know what the problem is, and he changes the subject whenever I bring it up. I love my husband and I want him, but I feel like he doesn't want me. I feel trapped in a sexless marriage. I would never cheat, but I understand why people do. What should I do?
You asking me first?
Yeah.
There's a lot of holes in this letter again. Listen, I wish y'all would write to us.
Why you gotta say holes in the letter?
No, it's
a lot of holes in this letter.
One
for number one, but I'm not gonna deal with all the holes. I'm gonna deal with the question. What should I do? Number one, he doesn't want to talk about it. So first thing you should do, you should go to seek to find out why rather than assuming. Sometimes there can be a medical issue that maybe he's embarrassed about. Right. So the next thing I would wonder was sex something y'all talked about before you got married? And don't come telling me one and done if y'all been keeping yourself. You think he gonna just have that all built up and last 4 hours? What's wrong with you? Yeah. You're not being logical. Sure. What you expected?
What dreams may come.
On the what you should do for one is don't make him feel bad or get defensive, and find out what's wrong. Like whether like, hey babe, whatever that is. If we can get it, we can go get checked out. We can let him know you love him and you're with him and you never married him for sex. That y'all marriage is much greater than that. but you don't. You want to continue to expand and to continue to grow in your marriage, and you want you to see what y'all can do. He may just need a little help. There may be something that has absolutely nothing to do with you that he could be embarrassed about, because when it comes to manhood, when we feel in any type of, dents in our manhood armor, that is not a good feeling. So
why would he tell her though? That's the part of the
I don't know how she's been acting. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I'm telling her, check if when a man won't talk to you, there's a reason. Maybe you've come across a certain way. For one, it ain't easy for men to talk about sensitive things like that anyway. But when especially something like that. But that's why you have to be more delicate and unjudgmental because if he feeling like, he has to feel like you've given him a safe enough place to talk. He don't want to know the girls in the hair salon is finna know about this. He may not trust you.
Right.
There's a reason.
They just got married.
Well,
that's why he don't trust you.
So he should have.
He ain't been with her no 20 years.
Why are y'all jumping on the girl? Rick, stop. Go down everything Pastor said. Wait a minute. Why is everything on the woman?
I'm a co-signing everything he said.
He asked, what should I do? She didn't ask me what he should do.
Okay, so what if, again, we don't know, but what if the woman is coming from a place that has had some insecurities triggered? Because I could see that on her side, it still comes like, if I am enough, if you desire me, if you see me that way, you're going to want me.
Okay.
By him not wanting her or them not doing it often, I could see how that could be a trigger for her. And so instead of coming from a soft, caring, gentle place, it's the trigger speaking, it's the insecurity speaking. So I could see a lot of tension on both their sides, which would make it next to impossible to create a safe place to talk about it. I mean, they have to, but like you said, there's a lot of holes in it. I'm gonna just go ahead and jump off the deep end. Let me back up so I get a head start. Okay. When I heard that and I thought about some situations that I've heard of that were similar to this.
I've heard of them as well.
It ended up in divorce, and they found out that their significant other was gay. And so you wonder, then why did they get married? Why did they go through the motions? Because they must have had some questions, some doubts, some whatever's that they were struggling with. Were they hoping that getting married would just make all that go away?
Did she know? She didn't know, I'm assuming, right? She didn't know until after the divorce that they were gay, that he was gay?
Right.
Okay. I mean, my thing is, I've heard of that as well from the women, and the guys are just not being honest. From the women that I've talked to. Now, of course, everybody, I don't know if they're being honest with me. Because we did this on She Said, He Said, Dr. Collins, where the women were saying they were waiting, they got married, and the guy was a dud. And he just wasn't telling her, and you gave some suggestions as to what she should do. My whole thing was saying, dude, why would you not tell her that up front? It shouldn't be after the wedding. If you know you got impotent problems, if you're on the little blue pill, I know it's embarrassing. I know it may be uncomfortable, but as you guys spoke of in the other previous shows we've done, get all that stuff out in the open. If you think anything is going to come up that could possibly hurt your relationship or marriage, let her know.
Rick.
I concur with everything you said, brother.
Hey, no, I want to add something to Janine's point.
Mm-hmm.
The reason, based on the letter, because none of us know, I don't think it's the gay thing, unless, because I don't know why she would leave. If this letter said, my husband is da-da-da-da-da-da, he never has time for me. He's always with his friend Bernard, and they always, and he's always never, and I can't, it's like we can't do anything. See, there's not even a mention of a homie or him being with his friends or him. There's nothing that she actually gave me that could push me in that direction. This is why I think I took the position I took. This letter sounds like someone I counseled years ago. Had just gotten married, it's so great, had saved themselves, da da da. And after the marriage, the woman was frustrated sexually. And the guy was not the type of guy that's very communicative. He doesn't, he already wasn't one that communicates a lot. But it ended up ultimately, after me continuing to encourage her that we got to talk about it, we need to get some things checked out. And she kind of changed her position of what's wrong with me after, I had to counsel her individually. And once she shifted her position to be more sensitive to his needs and they found out that it was a medical issue. Mm-hmm. And then they began to move forward with medical help. And that's why I took it there, because it just reminded me of that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Ready for the next letter?
Let's go.
Woo.
I'm
Today
a 27.
is heavy.
Yeah, it's very heavy. I'm a 27-year-old female dating a 39-year-old man. We've only been dating a little over a month, but it feels like one of the best relationships I've ever been in my life. He cooks breakfast for me when I stay over his house. He takes walks with me, and he has taken me to Big Bear so we could spend a romantic weekend in a cabin together. I was flattered, but surprised when after a month into the relationship, he told me he loves me and wants us to start a life together. It feels like a dream come true. The only problem is that he refuses to introduce me to his friends. He spends a lot of time with his friends when we're not together. But every time I ask to meet them, he says we're not there yet. He promises that I will meet them when the time is right. He's met all of my friends and even hung out with me and my girls. I just don't understand why he's not ready for me to meet them yet. But he claims to be ready for us to start a life together. This is the only problem I have with him. I am making something out of nothing, or does he have something to hide? How can I tell? I don't want to set myself up for another heartbreak, but I also don't want to lose a good man over much of nothing. I'm asking for a little advice or relationship wisdom. Thanks for your help.
What? How old was he? I missed that.
39. She's 27.
And she's 27. Okay, I think what he has to hide is her.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
That's what he has to hide. It's her.
Yes.
That's funny.
Really? Sis, girl, run and run fast. Run and run fast. There's not even, you don't need no conversation.
You need to know the why. Just
be gone, pack up, like, dude, I ain't feeling it no more. All you gotta do is say, I ain't feeling this no more, and just be gone.
Because, it sounds like a bunch of malarkey, a bunch of hooey. Look, I'm dating myself. Okay, lies. There we go.
All lies.
It sounds like he's telling her what he thinks she wants to hear to keep her in whatever place he wants to keep her. When you're saying, "Oh, I see us having a life together." When we hear that, we're like, "What else?" Right? And he's saying this stuff, but it's his actions. If he's not willing to introduce her and claim her before the world, that's not who he's really trying to spend the rest of his life with. And what does he mean? It's not time. It was time for him to make breakfast and do all kind of romantical things.
Okay, Pastor, say.
I don't think that. Him being ashamed of her because of her age. It could be looks.
I didn't think about that.
It could be looks. He's not ready for folks to criticize. Oh, wow. Everyone's silent.
No, that was a great point.
Wow.
Think about that.
That never even crossed. Like, why is he even with her? She don't need him anyway.
Maybe they're conditioned I don't know if he has any kids or past wives or they're going to
Yeah.
compare. I've seen that part of it where I had a good friend. We knew his wife. They got a divorce. A couple years later, the second lady, that he hooked up with wasn't attractive, and he did not bring her around. He didn't, bro. And I was like, yo. And I was like,
attractive to who? He didn't think she was attractive? Who
No,
cares
he
what
was-
anybody else thinks?
right.
Men.
That's, obviously.
Okay.
Obviously.
But
So-
this is the thing. Why do all these? I've heard so many men say, "I have this." A lot of guys think they have these really, really pretty girls, and then the women are looking. I mean, some of the other guys are looking like, "No, it's beauty is in your eyes." Now, some people are like the Halle Berrys, the Beyonces, but that's funny to me. To where we put so much emphasis on not bringing somebody around because of what the heck they look like, thinking that they are 10, and when some people may think that they are 5 or 4.
Well,
My
unless you know
point
what
is,
type of
who
friends you
cares?
have.
That
they're
tells you who cares. As long as she look good to
Okay,
you, or he looks
so
good to you.
Your
this,
boys care.
this.
I know, right, Janine? This is
I'm giving your perspective.
no.
I got two
this is
positions.
good.
I got
This
two.
is good.
Let me start
but-
with my devil's advocate position.
But look, ladies, look, I don't know if he feels that you don't look good enough to introduce you to the
That is
homies.
just so up
But,
on the
and this
floor.
is for all the ladies out there, look, you want to be with someone who is not afraid to be seen with you in
In
daylight.
public.
I've seen
No.
it. I
Nobody dated in dark.
With people that they know. You
listen to him.
you run.
Hosea,
Get,
back me up here.
leave that situation. Make breakfast for yourself.
There are some men who will date certain type of women
Mhm.
and they will not bring them out during the day.
Not before
They take
dark.
them to the movies.
Those are facts.
They take them to the movies. They
Yeah.
sit in back of the restaurant like she's a
Yeah.
side chick. And
Yes.
she knows she's the main chick. Absolutely.
Shut up.
And I'm
Yeah,
telling
yeah.
you, this dude,
Don't date before dark. Don't date her before dark. Now, let me play devil's advocate. Here's
Go
my
ahead.
first devil's advocate. Then I come on my other point.
Yep.
Devil's advocate. What if I don't know this guy? What if he's so ashamed of his friends that he don't want her to judge him by them? Maybe they express a certain part of his past that he's not proud of. And he really is not trying to associate. He doesn't want her to associate him with them.
Okay, that's
So he's really ashamed of himself and where he's been and that community he still has that he's trying to work his way out of.
Pastor Hosea. You could write for Hallmark or Disney.
Right? That sounds so good, don't it? So
That
pretty.
sounds so good.
So
Okay, now let me flip the coin.
Thank you.
Or,
Oh,
What's the truth? Now, what's the truth?
or he's
It's
what
a
you
girl.
call a sugar daddy. That's why he can take you to Big Bear. You ain't never been with your 27-year-old self. He
Yep.
can take
The
you.
big
He know how to make breakfast. Dudes you date don't know how to make an omelet. He knows he's exposing you to things you ain't seen.
Yep.
And he can't bring you around them.
Yep.
Because one of them, his brother-in-law, they know his wife
There you go.
and his kids.
There you go, sir.
You can't meet you. You gonna mess up everything.
Yes, sir.
What's wrong
You
with
gonna
you?
mess up
You better
everything.
enjoy these free vacations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We need to hurry up and get off this letter. Look,
Hey, I'm
we-
playing, baby girl. I'm
No.
playing. Please don't take me serious. I'm serious about what I said. I'm not serious about you sitting there and enjoying it.
Gary,
But
don't laugh at them. Don't laugh at them.
That's the
But-
truth.
yes, you want to be some. And my question is this: she left some out in the letter because this will make a difference. He didn't invite you to his friends,
Mm-mm.
but have you met any of his family?
Let me see.
Now, if you ain't met nobody,
I'm telling
Right,
you,
because it
it's
seems like
because you ain't nobody.
he met her friends and family, right?
Yeah. If she ain't met
Nope.
none of
He has
his,
never met any of his. Nope.
then
According
I
to the
can tell
letter.
you all you need to know.
side chick.
He's just saying what she wants to hear.
Here.
Lies, just lies.
Lies, all
Okay.
yeah, girls, whatever. This is not good for her. My vote is to leave. Run fast.
See, what Zandra
Hey!
want him to say is this. Zandra want him to tell his friends that may not approve of her, tell them, look, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike,
Yes,
I
sir.
love the girl. Who cares who you like? Cool it now.
That's what it's supposed to be. Man, this is and the reason why I just had a flashback past it. Because I've had friends that that's been done to before, and it just
And somebody interpret to our audience that's under 40.
That is a reference to New Edition.
listen.
Oh no,
From the
there
first
he
one,
is in the
from
back
the Candy
hollering.
Girl, from the Candy Girl premiere album.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
But it does. That's because I've had friends that has happened to. So it just is. Of course we jumped them. But anyway, that was back in my hell.
You better move on to the
That
next
was back
letter.
in my
Yep.
Get
that
us
was
out
like
of there.
that was like in my backsliding days.
Oh,
Okay, so
You jumped them.
Anyway, I want to always say
Gangster,
sanctified, and I'm
gangster.
still
Okay.
Gotcha.
okay. Switching
Say now.
gears. So Janae, you got
What's
some
up?
stuff for us. You know, it's a lot of hot topics, guys, for this week. There's a lot of stuff that's been heavily on my mind. I don't know if you guys want to go into some of the things that's been happening in the news, or Janine, if we want to just kick to some of your tips and then just kind of blend them in together, talk about them
I think we should go to what's been happening in the news.
in the news.
What a hot topic.
All right. Kind of switching gears. We needed to kind of get you guys laughing, and thank you, Dr. Collins, just getting us. But a lot of things have been happening, and what I don't understand that's going on with a lot of the suicides. So it's been just several. We know about Ian, Regina King's son. I was just completely blown away. He died 2 days after his 26th birthday. Only son.
Sad.
You know, he was dropping an album, I think, within a couple of days. He did send out a tweet, I think, a couple of days earlier, just saying he mentioned about the SpongeBob character, and it was an episode where the SpongeBob character had a bunch of smaller SpongeBobs inside of his head, and he felt like he was losing his, you know, his mind. And then, you know, not too long after that, he took his own life. The other one is Michael Madsen. I love Michael Madsen. He's an actor. I know him from Reservoir Dogs and the Kill Bill movies. His son
Also
was
at
married in
26?
Hawaii. Yeah, died
Wow.
at 26. He was married in Hawaii. He took his own life. And of course, the beauty queen. Chesley Christ. Now this woman, I just don't even get it. She left a note behind. 30 years old, gorgeous, Miss USA, attorney. You know, but I know none of this stuff matters. That's why this kills me, because none of this matters. And it seems like this stuff is taking people by surprise. I heard Gayle King talk about this. She was a correspondent for Extra, and everyone. And I'm not to say that she would talk to Gayle King, but it seems like people are just completely surprised. Also, the mayor of a small town in we got the Walking Dead actor Moses J. Mosley, 31. I think he shot and killed himself from Walking Dead. And then the fourth one was the mayor. He was 44 years old of one of these towns, I believe, in Maryland, here in the Midwest. He took his life. So, guys, I don't even know. We always say, like, reach out for help, and if there's any signs,
Yeah.
So many, you know, if that's the case, everybody will have a sign of you don't know. Because I had a friend, this is also very personal to me, a kid that lived down the street from me. He didn't reach out to me to ask for help, but he kept asking me to come to California. And I didn't know why he was trying to come to California. So I told him, you know, he can come and he could bring someone with him, his cousin. And then he just blocked me off of Facebook. Now I've known this kid since he was a little bitty something. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what. Never thought that he would hang himself. To this day, I still, he's a part of the Forever 21 crew. He would be 33, I think, if he were still living. I beat myself up. Like, should I have let him come to California? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? What could I have done differently? I don't know the answer. So guys, maybe you know the answer, because I don't.
So I want to throw this out there. When we're talking about depression, mental illness, anything that fits in that bucket, it's easy to say, reach out and put up the 1-800 numbers.
Yeah.
But that almost suggests that we then don't understand the nature of what the struggle is. There's a little voice or a feeling that's telling you that no one can help you anyway. Or you're weak, you can't handle it. Don't burden your friends and family with it because you should be able to handle it. You know, so you're fighting against the voices that are telling you not to reach out. You should be stronger. You should be able to handle it. Don't burden anybody. Nobody wants to hear that. Or you were complaining about that 2 years ago. You should be over it. They don't want to hear that. So it's not just as easy as, oh, I think I'm depressed. Where's that 1-800 number?
Right.
Right. I think it's incumbent upon the friends, the family, the community, right? Each one reach one. We need to look out for each other. We need to know what the signs are, right? And we need to approach each other in love and say, brother, sister, I noticed such and such and such. Are you okay?
Yeah,
Are you
okay.
sure? You know,
Yeah, I'm sure.
And watch them, stay on them, maybe some interventions. We can't, we're not superheroes. We can't save people, but I think it's going to require the rest of us standing up around each other, opening our eyes and paying attention to each other, listening. Listen to what's being said and what's not being said.
What's not being said. That's good.
Right.
And Janine, you're so right. You're so right with what you're talking about. But then there's certain people, it depends on obviously your personality. You hit the nail on, you hit it. When you have certain people who, like you said, you feel like you're burdening people, sometimes people don't understand and they don't know what to say. You know what I'm saying? Or they say the wrong thing, or they don't want to say anything because they think that they're going to say the wrong thing. And then you're like for instance, this beauty queen, it's like all of these contestants are like, man, I just didn't know. And I don't know the answer to that, because like even with Brian, I never thought he would do that. But he had left signs before I just didn't know about. But I can only go by when he was reaching out to me, and I knew when he blocked me, because my answer to him wasn't worth a block on Facebook.
Right.
And so I was then reaching out to my nieces. I said, go and talk to him. Let him know I'm not trying to not keep him. I didn't know what was going on. Right. And then when I heard that, I'm like, I literally just froze. Like, what could I have done?
Yeah.
How then do you know? Like, we can ask people all the time. I don't want to tell you what's going on. You can't help me. That's the thought.
It takes a level of discernment and sensitivity to the Holy Spirit to be able to tap into those veins. We've got to get back to a place where how are you becomes a question again and not just a greeting.
Yeah.
because it's really a greeting in today's world. We don't really say that with an intent to actual or concern to know. We say that as a hello. And let me say this from being honest, it's been a few years ago though, but from being someone who was suicidal. And I remember the night I planned my suicide, and I won't get into all of that story right now. But the point is, I've come to identify with the fact suicide is a result of a feeling of hopelessness and helplessness. It's when things are so bad and you can't even see them getting any better, to the only way to escape more of what it appears is to come is to check out. So there's a great lack of vision. There's a great lack of I've lost hope. I don't see a better tomorrow than today. And you've given up on life because there appears to be nothing to live for. Another thing, what I've come to find out, or I'll speak for me personally, I won't speak for everyone who's ever at any point in their life struggled with suicidal thoughts and things of that nature. I remember I found for me it would have been a very extremely selfish act as well, because it's a way of, quote unquote, for lack of better words, finally being heard. Now you hear me. Now you, and not only that, it's also a way of getting the last word. Because you live now, you can't say nothing back. You just gotta live. You gotta leave with that. You gotta live with that message I left you, and all of that. And I'll tell you the last suicidal thought I had, because this wasn't this one wasn't 20 years ago. I'll be very honest with you. In the hospital room, on my knees, crying hysterically, after Precious's transition, I meant it with everything in me when I said, okay, well, God, I got to go too. You ain't leaving me. And I literally started calculating ways. How am I going to go with her? Because I can't stay here and do this without you. You're not leaving me. I'm coming too. And I really start calculating ways. And here is what snapped me out of it. I looked up for a brief moment and I saw my children crying. And I realized how cold would I be to leave them to deal with that. Now I'm what you got left. And I'm finna go check out, and you got to try to figure out. But what the point I'm making is that rationalization is what gave me the strength. It gave me something to live for beyond how I felt. And I found anytime I've talked, I don't know how many people I've ministered to that was, had suicidal thoughts, things that they thought my life. But my objective is always to help them find hope. Because what if you knew that this next season is finna be so much greater? That if you knew that, would you really check out this one? If you really saw what God has right around the corner? Right. But man, it's sad. Go ahead, Pastor Rick.
Well, one of the key things, in dealing with teenage suicides and dealing with a lot of youth on that level, it's really, of course, a selfish act. We get that. However, I think we lack the empathy and the sympathy for people because of their mental state. And now because of mental issues are coming into the foreground amongst Black Christians, and the statistics are higher amongst the Black community. And I'll say this, amongst Black men is very high. It is said, Jim Baker said something very profound about men suffering. He said he went away to preach one day, and he comes back over the weekend, and he found out he left his fish tank on, and all his fish were dead. all of them. And he says something profound. He says, men are just like the analogy, men are just like these fish because they suffered in silence. Nobody's hearing their scream.
Wow.
I think it's important to understand, and I say to my sisters, and going back to the whole not feeling like a man and not feeling like they're worth anything. I think it's very vital to listen, to take heed, what they're saying, and sometimes what they're not saying. And you hit on the nose, Pastor Jose. I concur as far as asking the question sincerely. How are you doing? What's going on? How can I be involved in your life? And we just have to really take time out for that. That's just something we have to do nowadays. And because during the holidays, of course, November, December, January, obviously we had back suicides. And these are just in the news. Imagine the ones we don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. John just said something I would like to pick up on earlier. I think you were alluding to how people can't believe how this person or how that person, because often on the outside looking in, we look at, hey, if you got money, if you got opportunities, if you got,
you're beautiful, you are educated, you're smart,
if you're talented, if you're gifted, how could you? And we look at it that way. I think Bishop Jakes coined the phrase public success, private failure.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you live in here. Yeah. This is where you live. It's not out here.
Right.
And oftentimes, and I've wondered this, if I be honest, just throughout my life, I've always found I used to be perplexed to see how it seems like, people that appear on the outside looking in to have so much going for them.
Yeah.
But Ray in Section 8 on welfare, 2 strikes, not a pot to urinate in or a window to throw it out, ain't going nowhere. I mean, you don't often hear of people that seemingly don't have much to live for taking themselves out. And I think we're often perplexed with people that, again, seemingly have more going for them checking out. And I don't know the full answer to that. I've rationalized with it and speculated, and I got some thoughts on it, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I've only, like Brian was the closest to me that I've had the closest contact with that actually took his life. The only thing I can attribute to was when I get a divorce. And that's why when people say divorce is worse than death, they never lied. I'm the only divorcee here. And I wasn't married that long. And I wasn't expecting it to be as painful. It literally is a tearing away. And I remember saying, Lord, if you feel like I don't need, just if I lay down and you feel like taking me home, then it could be me and you. I remember having those thoughts and then going into a dark place where I know I was hallucinating, and which I know it was, now I know it was clinical depression. And just because of the things that at the time that was going on, because it can never just be an end, because I be want to end, it got to be some other stuff inside of that. But God did send me a support group that went through and was actually honest. We were just talking about this on my prayer call today. A lot of people are just not honest. As Christians, we're portraying this like things are just so foo-foo and just so
blessed and highly favored.
But we're not telling the truth as to our horse days, or how we are Janine and I laugh about this. And some people that are married now, and they're trying to tell you how to get a husband. They ain't talking about how they were sleeping with their husbands when they got married. You can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me about celibacy. But you're standing up in church trying to teach and preach to people when you yourself didn't live it. And so the young people, my nieces, one of the millennials, they see that. So they're like, hey, we see that, we ain't listening to you. So it's about being transparent and honest. And I'm not saying you just, you get on the bullhorn and tell all your business. But if you're like with us on this platform, that's why, with being in therapy and help, it helps us be more transparent and honest.
Yeah, I like Miss Evelyn Perez's comment here.
Oh, pull it up.
Not a lot of us have meaningful relationships, and that can make a difference.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
And I mean, let's really look at that word for a minute, though.
Mm-hmm.
Meaningful.
We use it, at least that word too.
Mm-hmm.
But the word that this show is even about, relationships.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, we jump to the suffix, which relationships, when they're real, they have this ability to actually relate. And that's where the disconnect comes. Like when you say people that won't talk, they won't say nothing because they don't think you can relate.
Yes.
They don't think we relate to them. And that's why it's important for us to share our stuff. That's why I don't mind talking about when I was suicidal, because there's somebody that might be where I was.
Yeah.
When now that relate ability, allows me to enter into a ship with them.
Yeah.
Right.
See, we try to have relationships without relating.
Right.
And you have to, you gotta get off your high horse of being so holier than thou. You gotta be like, no, I'm best around here. When it comes to my attempt is now, I don't always like putting all my messed up business out there in the street of how jacked up I was. But when the Holy Spirit leads me to, because I know there's somebody else that feel they don't belong. And I got to give a better point of reference. No, I was where you are.
Right.
So don't tell me what God can do. And because that ability to relate with one another, because I don't care, we may not all have the same situation, but ain't none of us that's exempt from pain.
Oh my God.
How can you not relate to somebody who's hurting, even if they're hurting for a different reason?
You got that right.
Absolutely.
So before you say, I can't believe you crying over that. Oh no, you didn't cry over something
else. Come on. You cried over something else.
Yeah. Yes. They would never cry over.
That is so true. And I was that person. Yeah. I was that person in college. So interesting how I got. Was I was in that person like, girl, you crying over him? Get over it. So I fell in love. And then I understood, had a point of reference, and it just almost literally destroyed me. To the point to where it kept me to where I just wasn't interested in necessarily being with anyone, which is why we're here so many decades later, where it just, I'm like, it's fascinating when I look at people like, you actually moved on past that, because I'm like, but I didn't know that I had stifled my own life, would not trust it. Without trust, I'm like, no, that's why everybody a liar. And trust is so big to me because of that. And I had to, with that therapy and counseling, that's helping me to come out and recognize that kind of stuff, so I can have better relationships, strong relationships with men and women.
It feels like we are probably almost out of time, but I did find some warning signs for suicide. So I think if we could even just go through those.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so some of the warning signs include extreme mood swings.
Good. That's good.
Next one. Feelings of hopelessness.
Yeah.
How would you know that with someone, though, that they feel hopeless?
I think it's listening.
Yeah. Exactly.
This isn't the assumption that this is a neighbor that you never talk to, or someone at Ralph's that's bagging your groceries.
Yeah.
This is for people in your circle, right? People that you know. Their conversation changes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Okay. Giving away possessions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like just like you getting out of jail.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Losing interest in activities.
Wow. Things that used to bring you joy.
Mm-hmm. Talking about death or suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Big one.
Closer to
Yeah.
it.
Saying goodbye
Wow.
to family and friends.
Yeah.
Saying that they are a burden.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a big one. That is a big one
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, you have to really watch the self-esteem in people.
Mm-hmm.
Always watch the self-esteem.
And then withdrawing from friends and family. So certainly there's probably more that could be added to this, and not every person who is suicidal will exhibit all of those warning signs. And if someone exhibits these signs, that doesn't automatically equal that they're suicidal,
Right.
Right.
right?
Sister
This
disclaimer. Yeah.
is pay more attention to the people around you, right, than the
Yeah.
tweets and the Facebook posts and what you're going to like next and the next TikTok. Lift your head up every once in a while. Look at people.
Yeah.
Listen to them. You
Yeah.
can send texts, but call people. I have friends that if I'm having some issues, when I say hello, their response is, "What's wrong?"
Wow.
Because they know, even with the hello, they know something's off.
That's good. That's some good advice. I think everyone should
Very
weigh in
good.
on this, on some tips you would give to people of how, just from whatever, however the spirit leads you.
Let's start with you, Dr. Hosea.
I was thinking of a couple of things. For one of the things we learned was, sometimes somebody might tell you, I'm thinking about killing myself, and you trying to see how far alone they really might be. And one of the questions that you're taught to ask is, wow, how are you going to do it? Like, do they have a plan? Like, has it went that far where they've all, because that's a more serious issue than somebody just saying something where, whether it's look for sympathy or whatnot, but never taking it for granted. Because even if they're
Yeah.
talking about it, then we know the enemy has planted it. The seed has been planted, and you're trying to make them regain hope. You're trying to
Right.
make them realize what they do have going for them, because their mind is stuck on everything that's wrong. Help them remember or identify
Yeah.
what's right. Like, girl, you're so talented. Wow, you're so amazing. I know at any moment now things, because you can do this, you can do that. I've always admired this about you. And see now, because when you've lost all your self-esteem, you might need some others' esteem. So let me start planting it in you. Let me start pouring that in, because I've got to create hope. I've got to show you what you have to look forward to. I've got to show you what God is. Sometimes, maybe I can relate. Girl, I remember, boy, a time in my life when I was, I thought it was it. I'm just so glad I didn't give up then, because we never know. I found out when it got the hard, it was when I was the closest to my breakthrough. And encouraging, and I'll share this, I'm done. There's another pastor that I know, and this was before he was a pastor. Someone called him up. Now, I'm not recommending what I'm going to say. I'm just sharing a story. Someone called him up from his church and told him he was going to kill himself. And he got so mad at that person. He said, really? Really, Doc? I thought we was better than that. You're going to this is what you're going to do? How can you be so selfish? And the guy thought he was talking about killing himself. He says, how could you be so selfish that you going to call me with this? Now you going to put this on me? So now, if I wake up, you did. So now I'm gonna feel like it's my fault. And I gotta live with that guilt the rest of my life. You had to leave that burden on me. Like, I can't believe you. And by the time he finished, that dude's still alive to this day.
All right.
Well, okay.
I'm not advising that.
Right.
It was one man's strategy.
But he said that the point I was gonna make, though, he talked to him for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had to come.
Okay. All right. Pastor Osei.
I just believe that you must really get people to come out of themselves. Again, because many times when you start thinking about your issues, your struggles,
right?
I take them downtown. I take them right there in the middle of Skid Row.
Wow.
And I show them pretty much what life could be. And let's compare to your life right now
Count your blessings.
with your six figures, with your nice car, with your beautiful wife, with your beautiful kids, with the nice everything that you have.
Yes.
Let me show you what life's really about. Once they learn to compare their lives to someone worse off, they start rethinking pretty much, you know what, maybe my life isn't that bad. And then you could, of course, obviously start ministering to them and making themselves come out of themselves in such a way where I believe they can be helpful to other people and talking as we're talking, and really confront the thoughts. Why do you want to commit suicide? What is so bad in your life that you want to take yourself out and put a burden on the family or your friends? And so depending on the situation, but that is one of the strategies I use, make them come out of themselves.
I hear that, Pastor Rick, because what they're lacking then is purpose.
Right.
They've lost purpose and value.
All purpose.
And you're trying to reignite a sense of purpose and meaning and value. It's good stuff. But let's all do our part.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on the person, because certain things, I think if I heard it would turn me the other way. I don't know what I would say. I've never had that. Brian was the only one but I didn't know he was going to do that.
Can I advise you on something, Zandra? So you don't know what you would say? That's okay. If you're ever in that situation and you don't know what to say, just know how to listen.
Yeah.
Just say, wow, talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Yeah. And what happened?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Yep.
Let me hear. So what did you do then? Just become someone that cares enough to give them a space. Because if they release enough on you, they won't have as much left in them.
Yes, sir.
So just listen.
That's good.
When the scripture talks about, carrying each other's burdens, that's
that part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Amen.
Oh wow, this is a heavy show, y'all. This is a very, very heavy show.
Woo.
I need to go worship because that's
child. It's so heavy.
I'm glad that we kind of took a little detour from what we were originally going to talk about. And certainly, if anybody is struggling or someone's struggling, there are the 1-800 numbers out there. But let's just keep our eyes open. Keep our ears open. Make a commitment to be there for your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your coworker. Just listen. And if God puts somebody on your heart to reach out to, do it.
Yes.
Now that part.
Call them.
True.
Call them. I know we're dealing with COVID, so you work that out, but call them or stop by or text or whatever, but reach out.
Right. Good job. All right, squad.
All right.
This has been good. So, guys, again, I've been so deep, I forgot to tell you to subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to our channel. The link is in the description section. So please, guys, subscribe, like, share. And we want your letters. Please, we want your letters. You can email us your letters at betterfliesentertainment@gmail.com. Betterflies Entertainment. And of course, you can hit me up as Zandra S. Wilson @yahoo.com. You can even go on any of my social media handles and inbox me your questions. We would love to read them. We're getting them coming in, so we want to be able to read yours with our surprises later on. But guys, this has been powerful. This has been good. Yeah. And guys, we're gonna catch you in 2 weeks. So be here in 2 weeks. That Valentine's, we're gonna have some hot stuff for you. Very hot stuff. So come on, take a little bit of time with us during drive time while you guys are on your way home. So okay, again, subscribe, and share. Subscribe, and share. Okay, guys, any final thoughts before we just bon voyage to our group today?
I would just say, pray this. God, use me to help somebody else.
Amen.
Okay. All right, bye everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Peace.
Everybody.
Peace.